Hi. So we're going to introduce some basic thermodynamics concept in this video. So we're talking about systems. So systems is whatever we want to study. For example, I might have a rigid container and inside is full of air. Okay. So my system is the air inside that rigid container and the surrounding is external. I mean, very simple concept, external to the system. So surrounding, and there will be boundary. The boundary is gonna be the shell of that rigid container, right? And be aware this boundary could be fixed or movable. For example, if you have a rigid container and nothing, the boundary is not movable, that's fixed. And I might have a piston cylinder. Then I have air inside as well. And however, this piston can move up and down. So my boundary here is become a movable boundary. Okay, so we understand system. System is whatever you study. And then you know there's a boundary and there's also surrounding. And the surrounding and the system might have some heat exchange later on. So that's why they define those concepts. Now, focus on system itself. The system can be defined as opened or closed. So let's see, opened means the mass and energy can transfer between the system and the surrounding. Then closed is energy can transfer between the system and surrounding, but not mass. So now let's look at example. For example, here they said a glass of ice water with a lid on the top. Then in that situation, do you see water going in and out? Is there any mass of water going in and out? No, if the seal on the lid is pretty good, there shouldn't be water going in and out. So there's no mass transfer. But would that be any heat transfer? Yes, the water, the ice water gonna melt and the temperature gonna get higher, right? So eventually gonna get if it's in the summertime, right, it's gonna there's a heat transfer between the glass and the surrounding, so the energy will be transferred. So what I would define is if it's a closed system, however, the closed system, which means no mass transfer, but there's energy. Yes, energy transfer. There's always going to be the heat transfer. So yes to energy transfer. Opposite to closed system, we will have an open system. Open system is yes to both. There's going to be mass and energy transfer. So one example we can think of is like a water heater at your house. The water heater will gonna come have have cold water come in, and there's also hot water leaving out the system water heater. So there's mass come in, there's water flowing in, and there's also mass coming out. There's mass changing it, there's mass transfer. So that's an open system. And is there any energy transfer in that water heater? Yes, because water is being heated, right? There's energy transfer. So that's the example of open system. Another example of open system is, for example, if you consider your bathtub is full, has some water in there, and you consider that water inside the bathtub being, let's say, the bathtub right here, water here. So that's an open system. Why? Because you're gonna have hot water coming and cold water coming as well, right? And so there's mass transfer. And is there any energy transfer? Yes, hot and cold comes in here. There's energy transfer. And if there were drainage opened up, so there's also mass transfer out. But regardless if this is clogged or opened, you're going to have mass come in. That's going to be mass transfer. So bathtub with water in and also have water coming, that's example of open system, right? So now we know the difference. For closed system is means there's no mass transfer. However, energy transfer is inevitable. Um, and that's the major difference between them. And now let's think about for closed system. For closed system, we're going to be studied very soon. And there are two representations of them. The first one is going to be the rigid tank. Think about rigid tank. Since its all boundary is fixed, there would be no mass coming, right? There's also no mass leaving out. That is a closed system. However, would that be energy transfer? Yes. You know, I could, for example, I could burn a candle here, and then there would be heat coming, and so there's heat coming in, and inevitable there may be heat coming out because you know there's gonna be loss of the heat. Also, that's going to be the energy. So there's energy transferring in and out. However, there's no mass transferring in and out. And another example of closed system is going to be piston cylinder. So piston cylinder is a container with a movable boundary. For example, I'm pushing that piston down, right, if it's air inside. So do you think when you push it down, is there any air coming in or out? Actually, no, because it's a still closed system. There's no mass going in or out. So in that situation, that is still a closed system, but there is the energy transfer. For example, I can do the same thing. There's a candle burning, so I can have heat coming or heat coming out. And also, if I have pushed this piston down, what happens? When you push this piston down, air being compressed, right? So you are doing the work. You have work coming into your system. You are compressing the air. So that's work coming also. Work, subscript A. And both heat and work is type of energy. So there's energy transfer in and out. I mean, if the piston is going move to another direction, if it's moving up, so basically the air inside is expanding, the volume increases, it's pushing the piston up. So what happens is the air inside is doing the work to the surrounding. So there's energy transfer out. So there's work going down by the air to the surrounding. So there's a work out to the surrounding. That's also energy transfer. In that situation, we know for piston cylinder, there's still heat transfer, there's still work transfer. However, there's no mass in and out. In summary, when we talk about closed system, the two representation we're going to look at in thermodynamics 1, the first one is rigid tank, the second one is piston cylinder. Those are the two type of system we're going to looking at in detail in closed system. Both of them will have no mass transfer, and they both have energy transfer. All right. So hopefully through this video, we understand the difference between the open system and closed system. Another unique example is called isolated. Isolated means neither mass nor energy can transfer between the system and surrounding. So like thermos, and it's like completely, if it's completely sealed right. So I would think this actually is quite ideal situation, you know. So if it's the problem state is isolated, then which means there's no energy transfer, there's no heat transfer, there's no work transfer, and there's no mass transfer. All right, so that's it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.